Friends, today let us see how what are the differences between uh, people in their 40s and 50s, generally parents and elder relatives, aunts and uncles, and the differences between their differences with, say, teenagers, people in their 20s and 30s. So, mainly they find it difficult, the teenagers and the younger lot, they find it difficult to interact with the elder lot because they find the elders too sticking to some certain small rules that they don't understand. The youngsters think that it is all silly and illogical, etc. But the elder lot think that these youngsters are either inexperienced, immature, or they need more experience. This is what people think. So what happens is the interaction between these two lots come more and more difficult if we don't understand the other's point of view. So the journey when you are in your childhood, teenage, and in 20s, you are learning a lots of things about this world and yourself, and the circumstances that are not in our control and which are in our control, etc. We have a lot of talent, we have a lot of life ahead, we don't have any diseases or any risks, etc. We can even physically jump about here and there and do so many things. We have youth and we have hope, etc. All of these things are the factors that determine how we behave, how we take decisions, and how we think the other people ought to behave with us. Now, what happens with these people who are in late 30s, 40s, and 50s? What they have understood, they have crossed this state, and they have considered all those things that the younger lot is considering, and after that they understood that if they keep on continuing to experiment with this and that, they don't have that much time left in this life. Also, what happens is there are so many choices in this world that you cannot exhaust them. You cannot make every choice for some time and then come to understand what this choice is about, and then to decide whether it is good for you or not. So settling down will be the main priority of this elder lot, and what they do is they want one particular system, or roughly a system they build for themselves and for the world around. They want one home, one city, they want one address, they want one job, they want one kind of clothing. They Everything will be, their kitchen must be in a certain way, and their bedroom must be in a certain way. Everything must be orderly, and they don't like uh, unpleasant surprises, because most of the surprises are not to their they don't fit in their own lifestyle that they have very painstakingly built after going through all that stage of youth and teenage and all of that I have already talked about. So they grow particular and particular. So the reasons could be this: in your youngster age you are ready to take unknown risks, but in your elder age, like when you are in late 30s, 40s, and 50s, you are willing to take risks. But why do you take unnecessary risks? Number one. Number two is you want to take known risks, which means calculated and informed risk. You have to know what amount to what depth and to what degree this risk will go. You want to be in control, absolutely. um, and then there will be risk seeking when you are younger, when you are part of the younger lot, and when you are growing up you will grow more and more risk averse. And then there will be, you want to do things, you want to get something done, and you will want to do it any which way. But when you are growing older, what happens is you want to do in a methodical way that ensures certain results, because you have realized that already in this world there is so much uncertainty anyway. You don't want to add, or you don't want to deliberately allow any unknown factors to play and change the results that you want. So what happens is, because of these preferences, the difference in the preferences between these two lots, there will be difficulties when they are interacting, when they have to live together or when they have to work together, etc. And even how they perceive the world also. For example, what they say is, if you are not a communist when you are in 20s, and if you are not a capitalist when you are in 30s and 40s, then something is wrong. That is what they say. Because what you think is, you need to have a heart when you are, you can afford to have a heart at that point of time when you are younger. But the way the system works, you will understand that there is not much you can do, you know, constructively. Objectively, you cannot bring in much results. So what happens is, you gradually resign to the fact that what can be done in this life and what cannot be done. For example, methodical, by methodical, I recall this one example. What happened is, my student was there. I generally tell him to be methodical and follow certain systems and procedures and formalities, protocol, whatever it is. Let us be orderly and then do it. But he thinks that, if you are right in your heart, if you are pure in your heart, if your intention is good, you want to contribute to the company, or you want to anyone, etc., then you just do it in the straight away. I can understand it totally. I was also like that. Or people in the younger time frame are also like that. But what happens is, when you interact with large scale entities. For example, in his company, what happened is, he was, I mean, in the data, he was sharing some data with somebody that is very harmless, like memes, etc. But that is from an informal kind of a setup, a community that belongs to their company. So then the company saw it as a breach of data security. So but then later, he had to explain, and then he ultimately was successful in explaining that it is just memes, which are like silly memes and nothing related to any work, etc. But the company's point of view is different. The company's point of view is larger, right? For us employees, we are only one employee and the company is one entity, so it is between one and one. But for the company, it is like thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of employees are involved, and they are one entity, and they have to involve with all these entities who are unpredictable. So they have to make stricter laws and policies, and take actions based on whatever is agreed upon earlier, that is informed to all the parties. So unless we take care of their point of view also, it is always difficult. See, what is education? Education is the ability to think from the other person's point of view. And spiritual education is the ability to think from everybody's point of view at once, right? So if you say that your point of view is clean and right, so you can do certain things, then we have not understood the coexistence, that we are all coexisting here. That's one example. Another example is, for example, I don't do things, some things, because I say there will be a probability that there could be an accident, there could be some risk, etc. So he says, all of this. See, you check your own experience in your life. Has this happened? No. Has it happened to anybody that is around you? No. It is only in TV that you may have watched, etc. Yes, the probability is so negligible that it is only 1% probability, or 1 in 1,000 probability is there for such a thing to happen. So why not just go with free mind? I totally understand. See, the whole point is, when I'm pointing out some things, that it doesn't mean that I don't see the other person's point of view, but I'm trying to explain to the other person's point of view. Because unless we have all the points of view on a table, and then see, we have to choose. When we choose based on the state we are in this life, or in the evolution. So people making certain choices is absolutely fine for me. But I try to inform them so that they can make better informed choices. Okay, so what happens is, just now I explained that. So funnily, what happened is, one day I and that student were living together, and he's a man, I'm a man. So he one day in the morning he uses my washroom, the washroom that is in my room. He came to the washroom. He did not bolt the washroom, and then he proceeded to doing his business. So I was sleeping at that time, but I woke up and I wanted to go to the washroom. I went and pushed the door. The door opened and somebody shouted from inside. So I understood somebody was there, and then I shut the door. So it was funny, but this is a small thing. But what it shows is he is right and I was also right. What is his, how right he is, and in what respect he is right is that he says the probability that I go to the washroom, waking up from my sleep, in the 5 minutes that he is there, he is most likely going to be there, is very, very less, 1 in 1,000. Because right then I have to wake up, and right then I have to decide to go to the washroom. And even at that point of time, on that day itself, because fewer days, we were only for few days. So all of this should happen only in those few days, right? So the probability is quite less. So you are seeing a very far away probability. You are operating generally in this probability. And even if it happens, we can adjust, right? Yes, all of that is taken into consideration. But what happens is, we don't know that there is the probability of 1%. The difficulty with the 1% probability is that the probability is low, but you don't know when it will happen. It might happen today. It might happen tomorrow. Okay, and it may not happen for 100 years after that, but it might happen today also, right? So that is the probability. Why do we use helmet? Why do we use seat belt? Because the probability of meeting with accident is definitely low, definitely very, very low. The probability of meeting with a road accident is definitely low, but once it happens, it is fatal, or it could be fatal, or it will disturb your life at least for a long time. So it has mental, physical effects, not just on you, on the other people also, and on your family also. So though the probability is very low, admittedly, the effect of the action is quite strong. So we have to use safety precautions. Similarly, in life, while you are moving into 30s, late 30s and 40s and 50s, people don't want to get disturbed because they have already seen it. They have already seen the world. So they know how this probability works, might work, and they don't want 1% probability also that is out of their control. So yes, definitely people keep becoming more and more control freaks, if you prefer to call it like that, as they grow. Now, how companies work, how multinational companies work, this corporate culture is, they are completely risk averse in respect of the unknown risks. They will never allow, they don't even give scope for such risks to arise. So what they do is they preempt everything. They they try to estimate this might happen, and they create rules, and then they will keep all the options open for them. And what they do is, they do definitely take risks, but they insist that they will take only risks that are known to them, that are completely unavoidable, and that are okay for the business. So while they are taking all those major risks, they absolutely don't tolerate any other kind of risks, even if it is seemingly small and of low priority, low probability. Even then, they are quite averse, and they are quite rigid about doing this. So what happens is, what I'm trying to say to you ultimately is, if all the citizens understand this, and that ultimately we are all traveling towards that age or that mental setup where we are risk averse, where it is unnecessary. And it is okay to explore life in your younger age, but once you settle with, you had so many toys, you had 10 toys, 20 toys in your childhood. Where are those toys now? You don't use them, you don't play with them because you have outgrown them, right? Similarly, all the other experiences that people are after in their younger age, they have not seen them earlier, so they are trying to go after them. Once they have seen enough, they will outgrow these experiences also. The color dresses we wear, or the car becomes definitely a utility object once you have seen it enough. Once you buy it, buy a car, even if you buy a Ferrari, or even if you buy whatever car, your dream car, after certain time, it is definitely only for utility, right? Only till a certain point of time, it is the car, the dream car for you. But otherwise, it is just a vehicle that comfortably takes you to point and safely from point A to point B, right? Similarly, once you outgrow all these things in life, then you are going to that stage only. Therefore, if we all grow up and be mature and plan in the corporate way, I mean, how they are thinking. So practically, we have to learn practical things from the westerners. Definitely, we have to learn how to be ideal and upright, moral, etc., from the Indian culture. It's 5 o'clock. Therefore, we all have to understand that if we can plan, all humanity can come together and plan in an orderly way how we behave with each other, how we think, and how we take decisions. If all of that becomes common, and if it is categorical and systematic, then what happens is, uh, the things that we don't want will stop happening gradually by a lot, and the things that we want to happen will start happening, and we can all gradually take control of what happens to humanity, and when and why and how much. So we can create a world that is new. If we do not accept, what happens is, if we continue to think in an individual point from an individual point of view, individuals are very very different from each other. Their personalities are different, their moods are different, their evolution stages are different. So what happens is, we cannot come together and work as a team any time soon in the future, if that is what we allow. So it is part of growing up, an important part of growing up, that we all find a system. Like, for example, airports, how they are managed all over the world, they're only slightly different, but they're not vastly different. Anywhere you go, if you read the rules, if everything is known risk only, and if you read the rules, if you abide by those rules, everything will be comfortable for you, everything will be safe for you, and you can predict what is going to happen and what is not going to happen. If something unpredictable happens, even then what should be done, everything, all that protocol is written. Every day they tell you, every time when you go into an aircraft, they will tell you religiously what to be done if there is an emergency landing, etc. So we all think it's all, most people think that it is all bullshit, but it is all there for our welfare. So real growing up is when you understand welfare is of definitely higher priority than pleasure. Okay, so in spirituality also, Shreyas is more important than prayers. That is actually the definition of spirituality, the very attitude with which you can grow spiritually. So I hope we all outgrow our childish or childlike experimentation with this world, and very quickly grow up and become mature, and therefore see the world as a team, see other human beings as a team. So unless we have lots and lots of people who are working to make all the humanity come together as a team, we cannot tackle problems that we all as humanity are facing because of lack of unity. So if we call ourselves China, Ukraine, Russia, we are all different. That India, New Zealand is different, America is different. Then we all fight amongst ourselves. But if we all see ourselves as one humanity, then we are ready to tackle, if maybe they are aliens, or they tackle the world poverty, or tackle the problems that are terrorism and all of these things. So all of us must definitely come together and think like a team. There is no other way. So this struggle is always there. So maybe the elderly lot may be a pain in the dash for the younger ones, but the younger ones also may be a pain in the dash for the older ones. So if they stop communicating also, or living together, or working together also, that is going to be just, we all become islands, right? So we need to see the other points of view, and then be develop some tolerance, and then see how we can outgrow the disadvantages from both sides, and take the help of the advantages, and benefit ourselves. Thank you.